we have reached a really crazed, fervent state of existence in Jets fandom when Stugotz is saying, bleep Joe Klecko.
Enough. I mean, Joe Klecko, congratulations on making it to the Hall of Fame, but enough. I don't want to hear from Joe Klecko. I don't want to hear from Marty Lyons. I don't want to hear from Abdul Salam. I don't want to hear from anyone in the sack exchange.
Hold on, Stugotz. What? I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what Billy's laughing at. I don't know why Jessica's
The whole
pointing
room
at
is
people.
saying, who is Joe Klecko?
Oh,
Anthony in
really?
the corner said, "Who isn't it Tom Klecko?" And then Chris says,
I said, is it Ryan Klecko?
Wow.
Okay, so you're going to have
Joe
to help.
Klecko just made it into the NFL Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great.
"Well, hold on a second.
He's a part of the New York Sack Exchange.
Exactly.
This started out with
And most importantly, he's Dan Klecko's dad.
Yes.
What are you, a Kleckomaniac?
Thank you.
This started out with you kind of crapping on Joe Klecko, saying you were tired of him until everyone here says we don't even know who it is. And now it's like you're the biggest Joe Klecko fan where you're defending him.
No, I love Joe Klecko. He brings me back to a better time in Jets history. It was a great time. But Joe Klecko spent his entire career being a quarterback away, and now the Hall of Famer is telling the Jets he's a late 70s, early 80s defensive lineman, nose tackle on one of the great defensive lines you'll ever see. Mark Gastineau, Abdul Salam, Marty Lyons, Joe Klecko, the Sack Exchange. He lived his life being a quarterback away. And now he is asking all the other Jets to live their lives a quarterback away because he doesn't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to hear from you.
We have to establish who you're railing against.
Joe Klecko.
People have to understand that the Jets, in Stugotz's 50 years of celebrating them, have had basically three things the entire time. I don't think there's a fourth. It's Joe Namath winning the championship.
That's not one for me.
It's this damn sack exchange. And it's Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan got us to a couple of AFC championship games. There's no fourth thing. So
now there's Testaverde up 10-3 halftime, Denver Broncos, 1997 AFC championship game. There's some moments. I don't count Namath if you do.
That's
right.
Okay, fine. Then make that the one and take Namath out because it was before you. Joe Klecko is at the center, literally at the center, of one of the few good things the Jets have had.
Yes.
Joe Klecko is against the Jets having a better quarterback than they've ever had. Joe Klecko is publicly against Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I could not find definitive reporting. I saw that it was a very Spartan cabin in Oregon, but did Aaron Rodgers get through the 4 days or did he only last 2 days in the darkness? Because I saw conflicting reports that he did not even make it through the 4 days of darkness. What's the truth here? Does anyone know?
I know that the truth is that place had Wi-Fi.
What?
It had Wi-Fi.
Get out of
You didn't see the place?
You didn't see the pictures?
No.
Oh, you need to look it up, Stugotz. This is a J.J. Watt situation.
Really?
You got to look it up right now.
Okay.
It's him trying. Did he get through it, though?
In the meantime, do what I'm doing, which is watching Dan Klecko receive a touchdown pass from Peyton Manning in the AFC Championship.
It's fun. Joe Klecko.
Stugotz, do you know? Because Aaron Rodgers has emerged from the darkness, and it doesn't seem like you're following this story very closely if you don't know that we've got a J.J. Watt cabin situation, but you do know that Joe Klecko is against the signing of the best quarterback the Jets have ever had. What's the truth on whether he was 2 days or 4 days? Doesn't matter. He only made it halfway through. I would think more people would be making fun of him if it were indeed true that he only made it 2 days through the 4-day experience.
I mean, if it's a total shutdown, he has nothing to tell him how many days has passed outside of the sun.
Right.
So maybe it felt like he was in there for 4 days, and he's just like, I've emerged. I'm ready.
If I were in a darkness retreat, I'd be on my 7th meal and be like, all right, 4 days is up. And they'd be like, ma'am, it's noon on your first morning. You have 4 days left. You've finished all your rations.
If you've been deprived of your senses, I do believe you would emerge from the 2 days feeling like it's 4 days. The Jets need a quarterback. Yeah. The Jets have been talking to Derek Carr. Peter King has said publicly, and not just Peter King. Who is the name that one NFL executive has been quoted as saying he's not worth the trouble because he brings whatever this stuff is? And I believe Bob McGinn, the longtime reporter in Green Bay, says that the Packers are disgusted with Aaron Rodgers and don't want to have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers anymore, which is much stronger than the reporting I've seen anywhere else.
I mean, it perfectly coincides with his rare drop-off in performance. So when he was winning back-to-back MVPs, all the stuff that is said about Aaron Rodgers is okay, and then he has a 26-12 season, and all the real feelings about Aaron Rodgers. I wonder how much real feelings have been masked about Aaron Rodgers for a decade internally because he's that damn good, and you don't talk about your franchise quarterback in public that way. But the second it's 39, it's injuries, his performance starts to drop off, it's this Aaron Rodgers guy, which is what makes what's happening with Russell Wilson all the more surprising because they're just doing it while he's actively playing and still theoretically in the prime of his career. Like all the stories. So I've heard Brian Curtis of The Ringer coin this phrase. It's called the "Now They Tell Us" story, which is after a player leaves a team, all the beat reporters empty their notebook of all the shit that everyone talked about players for a while. For Russell Wilson, it happens as he's still with the Broncos.